So while there are several image generators out in the market, one of my favorites that I play around with is Midjourney. It has a large community of users, more than any other image generator that I know, which means you don't have to be alone in your prompting journey, and the quality and realism of the images you can achieve are, at least in my opinion, just on another level. So in this module, we'll first start off with understanding what you can do with Midjourney. Then we'll explore all the nooks and crannies of Midjourney Web and Discord, and then you'll learn some different styles you can add to your image to make it much better, from colors, mediums, and cinematography. And then finally, we'll explore some use cases using Midjourney in real life. So with that all being said, let's jump straight into imagining the world with Midjourney. Midjourney is a generative AI platform created by the San Francisco-based independent research lab, Midjourney. So Midjourney allows users to create detailed images based on text prompts, allowing you to develop digital art in a matter of seconds. And the platform has become a hub for digital art creation, allowing for artistic and creative expression of all kinds. As of recording this video, Midjourney comes in 4 subscription tiers. You can pay month to month or for the entire year for a 20% discount. And each subscription plan includes access to Midjourney member gallery, the general commercial usage systems, and more. So you have the basic plan, which is $10 per month. And then you have the standard plan, which goes for $30 or $24 per month if you buy annually. And then the pro plan, and then the mega plan. And the difference between them is just the speed at which it generates all the different requests that you can put. And it's essentially just the more you pay, the faster the Midjourney model will be for you when generating an image, as well as just how many images you can generate in total per month. So as soon as you enter Midjourney, you're going to be welcomed to this interface, very minimalistic and simple and straightforward to use. At the top right, you have where you will input your prompt, and you can configure the prompt manually by hitting this little toggle switch, and it can adjust different image sizes, the model, etc. We'll go into that a little bit more detail later. And then here you can search all the different things that you've created by just typing in a keyword, if you do remember that keyword. On the left, you have your main menu where you can explore, which we're currently at right now, as well as create different things, organize your files, even personalize the AI model for you, as well as chat with the community. And then, of course, Midjourney also gamifies their overall experience by creating these different tasks you can achieve and will earn you faster hours in terms of the processing time. The far left, you have the different updates. You can adjust whether you want to do light mode or dark mode, and then you have your account as well. When it comes to prompting with Midjourney, this is going to work slightly different than just text generator prompts because you're creating an image. So at the end of the day, you're focused mainly on the visuals and trying to write some descriptive language while keeping it relatively concise. So some tips for prompting with Midjourney are, for one, be clear and concise. Be clear with the details important to you, but also be concise as well. And choose your words wisely. Midjourney is all about precision. When describing things, try to be specific with your synonyms. And then 3, be specific with numbers. Specify the exact number of items or collective nouns to get precisely what you want. So instead of just saying cats, you might say 3 cats. Or for example, instead of just saying birds, you might say a flock of birds. So this will help to specify plurality. And then 4, personalize your results. Add details by including a variety of different elements, whether it's a medium, the time period, the location, the emotions, the colors, and so on. And finally, don't negate. Describe what you want instead of what you don't want. If you do need to include things about what you don't want, use the no parameter to eliminate objects. And I'll talk about parameters in the next video. Now, Midjourney has something called parameters, which are essentially settings that you can use to configure your prompts. And you can add these manually at the end of your prompt by hitting -- and then including whatever parameter there is. Or you can even toggle these automatically on the Midjourney web platform itself. So you have a whole array of different parameters that you see on this list. There are things like aspect ratio, or if you hit --AR and then input whatever resolution or aspect ratio you want to do. And you have things like style, where you can indicate the different style you want specifically for the versions of Midjourney. You'll have style reference, which is a very useful one, which is --sref. And this really refers the style of an image through a specific URL or an uploaded image. So if you do upload an image on Midjourney web, you can then use --sref and then give a specific number from 0 to 1,000 to indicate whether or not you really want the output to refer to that uploaded image. And so I recommend taking a look at these, trying to understand how you can go about modifying your prompt better. And keep in mind, anything that is in the brackets is essentially referring to the range of numbers you can choose from, and you just choose a single number to replace in the bracket. With Explore on Midjourney, this is where you can view different submissions created by the users. You can just filter it by different random, or what's hot, what's the top of the day, what has many likes on it. Let's see. And you can open something up, you get the image itself, and then you can look at the prompt that was used. So this way, if you like an image that you see in the Explorer, for example, this image, and I want to create something similar, I can always remember the prompt that this person used, the different settings that they've adjusted when they're creating this prompt. And you can even go into the details here and then copy the prompt, the image itself, the image URL. So you can get different settings, as well as download the image itself. And like this so that later in the future, if you tip likes, you can view this as well. And so this is really a great way to kind of explore what other people are creating with Midjourney, but also get inspiration as well as ideas on how to structure your prompts. So moving forward, you can create similar images as well. And then in the future, if you want to go down here at the bottom, you could hit image so that it references this image in your prompt in the future, or you can even reference the style, or as well as just copy the prompt directly by just hitting prompt, and you get the exact prompt into your actual prompting area, input area, and then you just press enter and you can get the image directly sent to your create mode and check out what to create afterward. So when it comes to creating on Midjourney, you can create anywhere on the interface on Midjourney web by just typing up your prompt at the top of the screen here. But if you want to check out all of the things that you've created up till now, so your own library, just go to create on the left. Now, when it comes to actually modifying the settings to your prompt, you can just hit this little toggle setting switch on the prompt editor, and then you have a couple of options to choose from. So image size really just refers to what aspect ratio you want the image to be. So you can choose the defaults of portrait, square, and landscape, but if you want to go a little bit more granular, you can move this toggle bar and choose between the different aspect ratios that are provided. So if I want to go 9:16 or 2:3, 3:4, etc. When it comes to the model, this is where you can choose between mode. So mode refers to whether or not you want to tell the model to follow the aesthetic of the default Midjourney model. So right now, the default Midjourney model is going to be at version 6.1 as of recording this video. But if you make it standard, it'll follow the 6.1 aesthetic that is currently trained on. However, if you go with raw, this might steer a little bit away from the actual Midjourney default model. However, this is definitely better for if you want to create more cinematic scenes or some cute styles. And then, of course, version is just the model, the Midjourney model that is currently trained on. So you can see if I select standard, there's a lot more options to choose. If I go to raw, then there's minimal options to choose from. And then personalize is just how personalized the output should be based off of all the different likes that you've provided throughout the interface. So when I say likes, earlier I talked about when you're exploring something, you can like an image that you see, and then you can see all of them here, right? So over the period of time you're using Midjourney, you're going to start accumulating a lot more liked images, and maybe that might have patterns in terms of your tastes. So based off of these likes off of other people's work, but also off of your own work, the Midjourney AI will be able to understand, okay, this person tends to like images that have a lot of color red, for example. So in the future, if you turn this on, then perhaps the output that is going to be produced will lean towards this training that it understands on the back end. So this is just something to just take note of. And then you have aesthetics. So in aesthetics, you have stylization. So stylization really refers to how strong you want an image to be styled off of the Midjourney's model. So the lower the stylization, the closer it'll match the prompt, but it'll be less artistic. However, the higher the stylization, the more artistic the output will be. However, it'll listen to your prompt a little bit less, so it won't be as accurate to your prompt. When it comes to weirdness, this really refers to how much added randomness you want to add to the image. So this can make your image less expected than what you actually hoped. But if you're somebody that likes to see how crazy Midjourney's model can get in terms of its output, then you probably want to increase the weirdness to this. And then you have a variety, which is just how much variation each image comes out to be. So you'll notice with every prompt, there's always going to be producing 4 images. So if you increase the variety here, each image will have much more variety in them. Versus if you put this at 0, then all 4 images may follow your prompt and there will be less variety there. So that's just something to take note of. And then finally, you have the speed in which you want to produce an image. The default is set at fast, but if you want to put it at turbo, it will produce at a faster speed. Now, once you have an image output that you've created from a prompt, you can always click on it and you will have a set of settings here. Well, let's go back to that. A set of settings here that you can choose from. Now, this is the same as when you're exploring other images. You can go click this at the top just to either copy the image URL, the seed number, prompt itself, and a bunch of other things. You can also download the image or hide the image entirely. You can just download it, but you can also download by hitting the icon at the very right of the settings menu or like the image itself. And then if you go a little bit down, you have these creation actions. So what you can do here is choose from a variety of things you want to adjust your image with. So vary is just recreating the image that is similar to your output. So in this case, I hit vary, and these, as you can see, I hit vary here, and I chose strong. So what it ended up creating was 4 new images off of this original Jupiter image that all kind of vary in their look. So they're at a different angle, different shadows, and whatnot. Then you can also hit upscale. Let's say I like this image and I want to upscale it for print or for just using it as a graphic entirely. Then if I were to hit subtle, then it's going to create the same image, but just a better quality version of it so that I could use this for print later on. And then when it comes to remixing is building upon the existing image by creating similar ones, whether you want to build on it in a subtle way or a strong way. So if I were to remix the image itself, then if I hit subtle, then it'll create my prompt and give a couple of new additional parameters, but then it'll also refer to this original image. And if I were to press enter, then it's going to remix the image in a different way. Pan is adding more content to the image, whether it's on the top, bottom, left, or right. So if I were to, in this case, I chose adding more content to the bottom of the image. So if I see here, this is the pan version of creating something new below, right? So if you notice, the actual Jupiter image itself is the same throughout all 4 images. It's just that it's added additional content at the bottom. And then zoom is pretty self-explanatory. Whether if you want to add more content all across, top, bottom, left, right, you want to just zoom out of the image further just to get more space. So in this case, I zoomed out by 2 times, and here I have the exact same image across all 4, but just in a more zoomed out manner. And then you also have the option to rerun the prompt, and you essentially rerun the same image again. or you can edit directly by hitting editor, and then you have a couple of options in terms of choosing the different aspect ratios within the editor. You can also choose to add a brush and perhaps change up the way that your image works. And then finally, you have use. You hit image, you're going to be referencing this image into your next prompt, and you can write something new. Or if you hit style, then you're going to tell the Midjourney AI that in this new prompt that you create, you're going to copy or mimic the style of this input image. Or if you want to just hit prompt, then you can just copy the exact prompt used in the image. And so these are some of the extra actions you can take to extend your output further. Another great thing about Midjourney Web is the ability to organize all of your creations. So as somebody who used Midjourney Discord from a while back, this is one frustration I had using Discord when it comes to all my creations, because sometimes it'd be hard to find or reference creations I created way back. And so I would just have to do it by search. So go to organize on the left, you have all of the images that you've created up till now. And then if you want to have these filters to view your different images, as well as the different viewing options of your thumbnails, and you can hit this at the top right corner, you see organize. By default, it should be turned on, but if you don't see it, then just go up here at the top right and press organize. And then here you have a bunch of filters that you can look through. So if you want to look through all of your liked images, you want to only look at images based off of their upscaled ones, or perhaps based off of their image size, only landscape, portrait. You can also choose different versions that you created on. So version 5, here are all the images that I created, as well as just whether it's tiled or raw. And then you have your view options, which is essentially just showing how your thumbnails are going to show. Do you want the full image showing or consistent squares? Or do you want to show them as small images or large images? So that's really up to you. And if you want to select all of the images, you can hit this select all, select all based off of the date. But if you want to select individually, you need to hold down Shift on your keyboard and then select. You can select them individually like so. And then finally, you can create folders. So if you're creating things off of projects, you could create an individual folder for that project. And then once you have that folder created, like so, you can select all the images that relate to that project and then just sort of tap them in. So let's say if I press select all, you'll see this at the bottom, a bunch of menus. You can download all the images at once, or you hit more and then you can add to a folder. So if you add that folder to, for example, in this case, Miami, then all of those images would go into the Miami folder. So then in the future, if I hit Miami, it'll show all of those images there. Now, keep in mind when you're creating this, you'll see this little option here called Smart Folder. And so this will mean that anytime there are specific search terms in relation to that image, it'll automatically add it to that folder. But I tend not to do this just because you can't really add or remove images from smart folders. So I just tend to keep it simple and have just a normal folder here. You can create many folders. So testing, and I could just create this folder here. Now I'll have a testing option. So let's say if I select these, deselect a couple of these, and then I add them to my testing folder. Now you'll see testing will have all of these images that I've created earlier. And then of course you can also right click each individual image and you have the creation actions that I talked about earlier. Another neat little feature here on Midjourney Web is the ability to personalize or essentially train the Midjourney model to understand your tastes. If you just start teaching it, you have to go through 200 different images that is going to show up, and you choose, you see which image you like better, and you can just choose which image you like. Let's say I go through this. Let's say I go through this. It's going to give me an image. I go through this. And essentially you go through this through 200 different images like this, and you're just training the model to better understand your tastes and your preferences so that in the future, if you remember earlier when I talked about configuring your prompt, this personalized feature here, if it's on, then it'll use that training to then create images that match your personalization options. So the things that you told the model is going to be able to then reference that understanding, create images that fit well for you. So one great thing I love about Midjourney, and I think other people love about Midjourney, it's its community-driven approach to image generation. Unlike other image generators that I've used, Midjourney probably has the best community. And as of recording this video, if my memory serves me correctly, I believe Midjourney had about 15 to 16 million users on their Midjourney Discord. So that's quite a vast community. And the reason for the community-driven approach being so great is because you can learn how to craft your prompts better through this community. And they've utilized this in their Midjourney web by adding this chat feature. And so this chat feature essentially gives you access to 4 different chat rooms. So Prompt Craft is a place where you can work with others to craft the perfect prompt or image. So you can sort of put an image here. So just taking this as an example, someone put show plastic cat at a low cost sculpture. And then from there, people can add to this prompt by, using the same prompt and creating something new off of their own version. And then you can see how they prompted it to get a better output, right? So in this case, this is the same person, but you can get feedback here just on the Prompt Craft chat. And then on the general chaos chat, you have, just as the name implies, it's just a general chat room where people are just uploading anything really. And you can just look at you can get inspiration of the different things people are creating. And maybe you run through this and get an idea and try to create a similar prompt or output from there. And then you have daily theme, which I really like, which is every day Midjourney suggests a specific theme to create. And then now it's your turn to create that image. So let's say Tuesday, they say, create a cat looking out the window. Now it's up to you to create a prompt as well as an output off of that theme. And then you'll notice other people in the chat room creating an output off of that same theme. And so this really helps to give reference to how other people are interpreting that theme. And then finally, they have a section for newbies, which is just essentially a welcome place for any new user. So you feel welcome from the very beginning as you enter Midjourney. So at the top right, you can see all the people that are currently in the chat. You can even enter a voice chat to get, if you want to speak to these users directly through voice. So before Midjourney released their web version this year in 2024, for many years, it was Discord only access. And so while it did do a great job to bring in a lot of users and make Midjourney a very community-centric approach to image generation, it did limit the average user who is not really familiar with Discord to access Midjourney. And so this is the original form. You can still create using its Discord if this is something that you're more comfortable with. And so if you do want to get started, you just join the Midjourney Discord based from their website. You'll enter the Discord itself. You'll see that there's quite a lot to do. You don't need to look through everything. And if you want to add Midjourney's bot so you can talk to it directly, all you have to really do is just go into any sort of newbie channel. And you see this Midjourney bot. You click the Midjourney bot and you notice that there's this add app here, right? So if you add the app, then you have the option to either add it anywhere to where you want or add to your server. And then once you do that, then you should be able to go into your direct messages and have this Midjourney bot directly on your direct messages. So you can just start generating or privately on your own instead of having to create something directly on the Midjourney server itself. To start generating on Discord, this works slightly different from what you would do on the Midjourney web app. So what you have to do is essentially, let me just go straight into my Midjourney bot. You have to type that /imagine. And then once you hit that, then you have this little imagine prompt, and then you can start generating something like, a ballerina woman dancing in the middle of a street. And if you do that, right now I'm out of credits, but as normally you would create an image, and you would be able to get something directly like what you see here, all of the different images. It's worth noting that when it comes to prompting on Discord itself, the general structure that you should be familiar with is image comes first if you are going to reference an image from the outside. which this would be the URL of an image. Then you input the text where you add a description of what you want to see, whether it's the style, color, and everything else. And then you add the parameters. And this is how you will adjust all the different ways you want to make your image look like. So knowing all of this, it's up to you whether you want to create from Midjourney Web or Midjourney Discord itself. I used to use Midjourney Discord for the longest time just because there was no other option, but now I've been having a lot more fun doing it on Midjourney Web. So now that you know all of this, let's move forward into actually stylizing our outputs. Since Midjourney is an art generator, you probably want to become a bit familiar with some key art styles that exist, and you can input these into your prompt to get that specific style that you want. Now keep in mind, Midjourney is not just limited to these art styles. You can do your research if you want to add more, and moving forward, just to maintain some consistency, we'll leverage the general prompt, illustration of couple dancing in the street in the middle of a city. So just to start off with some examples, you have block print, which is a technique where designs are carved into a block, inked, and then pressed onto paper. So it creates this sort of graphical image. And then you have graffiti, which is a very expressive art form often found in public spaces with spray paint. Then you have risograph, which is a digital printing process that really makes the artwork look like the ones that you see on posters in different magazines. And then you have ukiyo-e or ukiyo-e, which is a very traditional Japanese woodblock print style, and it's really known for its bold lines and flat colors. Then you have the pencil sketch, which are just drawings made with pencils, so you can really stylize your art to look like it was drawn. Then you have watercolor, which is a painting technique that really adds this sort of soft texture on paper. And then you have pixel art, which is sort of a digital art form where images look like they're at a pixel level, often resembling those of like those retro video games. And then you have black light paint style, which is an art form that looks like the art itself can glow under ultraviolet light. And then you have acrylic pour, which is a type of abstract painting style, which really mixes like the surface to create these sort of marbled patterns. And you have cut paper, which is a type of art form that involves looking like cut pieces of paper in intricate designs. And then of course you have anime style, which represents Japanese animation, so it's characterized by different colorful artwork. And then you have vector art style, which is just digital art style composed of different graphics made from lines and shapes. So you can also go back in time and stylize your outputs in different eras. So we'll continue with the prompt of illustration of couple dancing in the street in the middle of a city, and it will stylize it to fit a specific era. So we first start off with the 1910s, which are really defined by Cubism, and this really broke down objects into geometric forms, show different perspectives. And then we move into the 1920s, which are really defined by Art Deco movement, and this emphasized a lot of geometric patterns and luxury. Then you have the 1930s, which is really defined by surrealism, which had a lot of dreamlike sequences. Then you have 1940s, which was really defined by abstract expressionism, and it focused on emotional, intensive scenes. Then you have the 1950s, where you had early pop art, and this is art that drew from popular culture. Then you have the 1960s, which was really defined by op art, or optical art, and this is where it created illusions of movement with different geometric patterns. Then you have the 1970s, which had minimalism come into play, which focuses on simplicity. And then you have the 1980s, where it was defined by neo-expressionism, and it was a return with the emotional paintings with bold, expressive strokes. And then you have the 1990s, which had the YBAs, or Young British Artists, and this is where you really got immersed into the art itself. And then you have the 2000s, where digital art became very popular. Now keep in mind, just noting the time period in your prompt may not give you the exact style of that era, but it will definitely paint your picture in a way that represents that era. If you do want to be a little bit more specific, feel free to insert some of the art movements that I mentioned in this video into your prompt as well. Then beyond just time periods, you can also play around with and explore a whole spectrum of colors that you want to stylize your output with. So some examples here, we can start off with something like acid green, which is oftentimes this vivid shade of green that is almost fluorescent. Then you can also include these saturated colors, which are really when you mute or tone down the overall colors, resulting in a sort of softer appearance. And then you have canary yellow, which is more bright and cheerful shade of yellow that resembles this vibrant feeling. And then you have pastel, which is really defined by soft, light colors that are really gentle and soothing on the eye. And then you can go with neutral, which are colors like beige and gray and taupe. This is really often understood as more of this subtle background. And then you have CMYK, which is a color model used in color printing in general, which stands for cyan, magenta, yellow, and key black. This really allows for a wide range of different printed colors for your work. And then you can also do blue tinted, which really gives a slight blue hue to your output. And then you can stylize with iridescent color, which really makes your output shimmer when you kind of views from different angles. And then you can do brightly colors, which are really focused on giving vivid, intense colors to your output with high saturation and luminosity. And of course, with your output, it's not just about the subject either. Midjourney is great because it makes you think about what environments you'd like to place your subject in as well. So using the same prompt that we've been applying up till now, we can put your subject in places like tundra, or jungle, or a desert, or perhaps a forest, or perhaps a farm, or a city, or a garden, or salt flats, or even a cave. So as you can see, there are many different environments that you can insert into your prompt to ensure that your subject is, in a lot of different diverse places. When it comes to Midjourney, you can also generate unique images that capture cinematic styles. Knowing some of these styles can help you create very interesting shots in your output, like a professional cinematographer. Film noir, for example, is very useful for creating moody, mysterious, shadowy scenes. It's really defined by high contrast lighting, deep shadows, and dramatic silhouettes. Then there's Wes Anderson style. It is very useful for crafting whimsical, symmetrical, colorful compositions. And this is really perfect for centered framing, pastel color palettes, and making it look like a storybook quality. Then you have Kubrickian style, named after Stanley Kubrick, the famous director. And this is useful for generating stark, symmetrical, and unsettling imagery. And these are often defined by one-point perspective shots, often has a sort of cold feel to it. Then you have Expressionist style, which is very useful for conveying intense emotions through distorted visuals. And this has exaggerated angles, stark contrasts, and it often is used to reflect different inner psychological states. Then you have the French New Wave, which is really great for creating youthful, experimental scenes. And it can be defined by handheld camera work, jump cuts, natural lighting, almost documentary fictional styles. Then you have the Spaghetti Westerns, which really evoke this sort of dusty, sun-baked atmosphere. It's really great for extreme close-up shots, panoramic landscapes, and giving this sort of earthy palette to it. Then you have neo-noir, which is really defined by high contrast lighting and color, often has neon accents, rain-slick streets, and these sort of feel. Then you reference the Wong Kar-wai style, referenced by the famous director for his famous movie Chungking's Express. And it really captures an urban energy dreamlike sequence. And it's defined by saturated colors, handheld camera work, and a mix of wide, tight framing. Then you have Dog Meat 95 style, which creates a raw, realistic, unpolished scene. And is really defined by a sort of natural lighting, stripped-down documentary style aesthetic. Then you have Technicolor, which really produces vibrant, larger-than-life color palettes, and is really defined by highly saturated colors, such as reds, greens, and blues. Now in this module, we covered quite a lot of parts related to using Midjourney, navigating through web and Discord version of it, as well as learning to stylize your outputs. One additional recommendation I would give is to also check out the website midlibrary.io. This is a fantastic website where you can learn so much deeper in terms of how to go about using Midjourney styles and just like understanding all of the different ways that Midjourney can be leveraged in terms of making your output better, right? And this is a very in-depth platform. You can kind of go into different genres and art movements and even go deeper into this. And then you see all the different suggestions and tips that they do give. And I would really definitely recommend checking this out if you really want to take your Midjourney learning to the next level. So you can see there's different classifiers. And yeah, this is, I go to this platform often to just improve my Midjourney game. And so yeah, big shout out to them. The great thing about image generators like Midjourney is that they can be used in so many different ways. Just looking at some real-life applications of Midjourney, you can do some of the following things. For example, you can create concept art. Midjourney can be leveraged for concept art by generating imaginative visual representations based on just text. And this can help artists visualize characters, environments, and scenes much faster. An example prompt here that you can write could be something like a sci-fi landscape featuring alien architecture, glowing bioluminescent plants, and 2 moons in a starry sky, concept art style. And you can see the results here. You can also use Midjourney to create book covers for graphic novels or comics. Artists can create dynamic illustrations that bring storytelling to a whole new level. So an example prompt you can write is a superhero character standing on a rooftop overlooking a futuristic city, comic book style, vibrant colors. And then I would add the --AR 3:4 to fix up the aspect ratio. So you can see the results here, and it looks like a typical comic book cover. Then you have photography. Midjourney can mimic photography by generating realistic images that capture different moments and allows photographers as well as non-photographers to explore the different ways to create a scene. So an example prompt could be something like a photorealistic image of a deer in a tranquil forest at sunrise with mist rolling through the trees, capturing soft light and rich textures, realistic photography style. Then you can also use Midjourney for storyboarding, which you can create visual concepts for a scene much faster than you would if you had to draw this all out yourself. So an example prompt here could be something like a dimly lit alley with fog rolling in, cinematic style, focusing on dramatic lighting and atmospheric details, storyboard sketch. And then you have print designs, where Midjourney can help generate vibrant, eye-catching visuals suitable for posters and flyers. So an example prompt could be an eye-catching poster design for a music festival with colorful abstract illustrations and bold typography, modern graphic style with the parameters AR 3:4. And then you have business branding, where Midjourney can be used to generate logos and different visuals that help capture your company's identity. So an example prompt could be a minimalist logo design for a tech startup featuring a stylized circuit pattern and sleek typography, professional and modern vector style. So you see the result here. They didn't include any text, but can work with this. And then you can also use Midjourney for interior designing, visualizing different concepts for your home, and this can experiment with different layouts, color schemes, furniture arrangements. So an example prompt could be something like a cozy living room design featuring a modern aesthetic, warm lighting, and a neutral color palette with decorative plants, interior design. And then you also can use Midjourney for just creating concepts for clothing and outfits, experimenting with different textile patterns and colors, So an example prompt here could be something like a high fashion runway model wearing a flowing gown made of iridescent fabric surrounded by dramatic lighting, editorial style, fashion design. And these sort of photos can be used on magazines as well. And then you have event planning, where Midjourney can be used to visualize themes and decorations and layouts. So this will help planners to design memorable experiences as well. So an example prompt here could be something like an elegant wedding reception set up with floral centerpieces, soft lighting, in a picturesque outdoor setting, romantic atmosphere, event photo design.